talking with the legendary Keith Gordon. Keith, how you doing?
Delighted to be here.
Speaking of which, you were on the panel yesterday regarding Christine, and you were sharing your experiences on the set working with John Carpenter. Can you talk about that a bit?
Sure. Well, I mean, the thing about John, he was a brilliant filmmaker. He did a lot of things on Christine that I think were very smart. I mean, first of all, he established a really light tone in terms of just the set and how it felt like. He would play pranks and practical jokes. He would just get us cracked up. And that I think was really important with a young cast. Because again, I think all of us were like, oh, it's John Carpenter. Oh, it's Stephen King. Oh, there's a lot of. It's easy to fall into I don't want to screw up, instead of I want to do my best work. And so I think part of John's keeping things light and fun and really helped us to feel like it was okay to try and to fail. I mean, if you can't risk failing as an actor or as anybody, then you can't do really good work either. And I think John made it really feel like it's okay. If you try something and it doesn't work, we'll do something else. And that was very important, I think, for all of us. And there was a real process with him of finding the character and talking and trying things. And, and we talked a lot about, the thing I mentioned yesterday was like the sexuality of the relationship with Christine, which I thought was really one of the most fun things to play with. That he didn't want it just to be this kind of spiritual, oh, you love your car. It's like it was a relationship. So that every time I touched the steering wheel, every time I touched the dashboard, every time that was like touching a lover. And that to really play for that, to really, make it that physical connection. Because you're working on the car, you're in the car, you're moving things, it's not an idea. And so that was, for an actor, what fun to play with, like that really have the car be your lover, not just something you love from afar. So that was a great thing that he helped find. But we did all sorts of stuff. I mean, even the costumes evolved a lot. When we started, we were working much more with the standard clothes of that moment. And then the whole 50s sort of theme to the jackets and everything was something we found as we were trying things and making Arnie a little bit, that he became more and more of the era of the car.
Yeah.
That was something we didn't go in with, the idea. That was in the rehearsal process, and in the costumer was really important. We started trying things going, it just feels boring. And then she started bringing in things that were a little more 50s. It was like, oh, okay, maybe this is part of the secret to this guy, because he's not only getting tougher, cooler, and then crazier, but he's also regressing in time to meet up with Christine. So that was something we found.
That's interesting you should mention that, because a lot of people don't recognize that at the heart of a lot of the horror stories is the love story. Like, for example, Dracula is like one of the ultimate love stories.
Absolutely. Yeah. Well, horror films are all about, as an audience, losing yourself, and the characters are losing themselves. Well, what's the thing that most of us have in our lives where we lose ourselves? When we fall in love. So I think that so many horror writers, directors, and audience members, it's not that weird a connection, really, because it's two of the most out of control things in our lives: horror and terror, but also love and passion. Yeah. And I think that that's drawn a lot of people who write the stories. It's like, where is that line? Because when you fall in love, you lose yourself, and that's scary, and that can be dangerous.
Absolutely. What advice do you have for those who want to get into the horror genre?
Well, first of all, you're lucky, because your chance of getting financing for horror is way, way better than most genres. It's a genre that sells well all over the world. Doesn't mean it's easy. It is still stupid hard. Stupid hard. Like years hard. But at least you're working in a genre that can sell as easily in Japan as it can in Africa, as it can in Canada, as it can in Missouri, as it can in New York City. So that helps, because in terms of people who want to invest money in projects, it's a genre that works all over the world and speaks to everybody. But it's really about finding a story you care for deeply, and something that hopefully has some originality to it. I think one of the biggest problems in horror is so many things feel like we have seen this over and over and over again. So if you can find something that's new and personal, exciting to you, for me as a filmmaker, and everybody's different, so I'm talking a lot, but this is just me. But I want to make a film that I want to see. every movie I've made has been something I want to see this movie, and I see it in my head, and I'd be excited. And if somebody else made this movie, I would like it. I would want to watch that. So for me, that's where you start from. Is do you have a story, or can you find a story that you would want to see that movie? And then when you're trying to go convince somebody to give you money to make it, you're going to be able to talk from that passionate a place. You know, it won't just be about like, oh, our research shows that this will do well in Des Moines. You can say, I think I can make a great movie, and this is why.
Keith Gordon, thank you so much for your time.
My honor. I'm
Right.
glad. Thank you for talking to me.